Ozark is a series I've come very late to, and actually I've only seen the first season, and I completed that some time ago. Got all kinds of sidetracked and kept meaning to review it, and at one point was just going to review it by episode, but I'll just do it by season. But it says I started it not long after I'd gotten into Narcos Mexico, that the first season there. And it had this kind of the same reaction to it in that these two remind me a lot of obviously the genre and mood of Breaking Bad. In Narcos Mexico, not quite the same way. There's not like a total transformation of a man from one end to the other. And it's only one season, but I mean, and also, of course, it's based on a true story. But it is the draw and lure of power of what happens there. And with Ozark, I imagine a similar thing will occur, but for the most part, it's just survival. And so you have Jason Bateman in here, and he's basically this guy who's laundering money for a Mexican cartel. So that's the plot there. But how he's able to maneuver, and at the spur of the moment, really, due to a tourist brochure, he gets this idea of, hey, I could really grow your money in this opportunity. So he ends up in the Ozarks and all that. And you see his skill in the way he's able to come up with these ideas and manipulate people, and to position himself within that town, which turns out to be just as corrupt and evil. That's the situation he's already found himself in. Meanwhile, there's the other elements of the soap opera business, of his relationship with his wife and all of that. And her infidelity and whatnot, and it's this sort of dark dance between them, and of where he is in love with his wife, even though he's very angry with her because she hurt him so bad, and so it's like he wants to punish her, but at the same time he wants her back, and and that's the position he's stuck in there. And in some elements, as this is going, she's sort of stuck with him now too, after everything that's happened. And if you've seen the series, you know what I'm talking about. If not, well, I'm not going to spoil it. I'm not really going to spoil a whole lot here. Some things, I mean, it's like I've always said that I always thought Breaking Bad was one of the most perfect shows ever done, second only to perhaps Twilight Zone, but this one is a pretty close contender in it. And Narcos Mexico has the benefit of real life events. It's not a fictional story. Obviously, it's going to take its artistic liberties because you kind of have to. But with Ozark, it's a fictional story. So it's in that category with Breaking Bad that way. But there's some rather minor things, I think, the more I think about it, that I saw as somewhat flawed. It was kind of an odd thing that there's this business with their son who's indulging in some disturbing behavior here. And there's a scene where the wife is upset about it, and then suddenly and the husband's like, boys or whatever, and then the roles reverse, and he's more concerned, and she's kind of boys. It was kind of an odd thing that happened there, and I don't know if that's a bad edit or what. I did get some spoilers as to what this kind of portends, and they do mention of a character that will come later about this, but what have you? But you've got a lot of the environment here, of the characters that they're coming in contact with, that again are just as dark and evil as the cartel they're running from. And there's this own drug operation there that has its own unique way of delivery and all that stuff that happens. And there's a lot about it of people coming to terms with a side of themselves that they didn't either knew existed or just were in total denial about. Most notably, there's this homosexual romance that happens. And one of them is in denial to it to a certain extent, but once it's revealed, he's getting manipulated for reasons in this. It's like, well, how much denial did you really have? So anyway, but that's kind of an easy example, but there's a pastor and stuff like that about things that occur, and chilling scenes of things that almost happened and suddenly, oh, thank God it's not happening. Stuff like that. So it's very well done. And I don't know. I can't remember. I doubt that it was intended to only run for 4 seasons, but that's what they got, and I hope it does okay as I rejoin it at some point. I think I'll get back into Narcos Mexico next, and then go back to Ozark. But it is well done, and certainly in the performances and the believability, especially with the main characters and their relationship and what have you. About that betrayal and pain and whatnot. But I mean, what he's involved in and what he's done here, it puts him in the villain area. But at the same time, I just don't see her case at all. Yeah, I mean, you're the one who cheated, lady. And the cartel sort of came through for him on that end as far as the boyfriend goes. And you just can't. Well, I was unhappy, and that's just, you're getting old, and you sought escape and excitement in another man, and that's not a good thing to do to your husband. Of course, he's a criminal involved with laundering money for vicious drug runners, all that stuff. But you like the house and the nice things. So anyway, just from what I've seen so far in this first season, this is a very good crime drama. A lot of depth there, well performed, and credible scenarios within the context of it all. And of course, hey, what's the ultimate scene? Well, again, like I said, this reminds me of Breaking Bad here and there, and certainly in mood and genre and what have you. But at the same time, the ultimate outcome of the lure of evil and committing crimes, and can you escape and all that? No, there's only one way. You should never ever do any of this stuff. Because oftentimes you're just digging the hole deeper and deeper and deeper, and the consequences appear maybe somewhat subtle, but eventually it's all going to blow up in your face. And I suspect something of that nature will also occur here. So I'm impressed with Ozark, and we'll be revisiting that world sometime soon, and we'll review season 2 right here on the Nailsin Ratings.